So I'm Gretchen Hunt, Director of Louisville Metro Office for Women, and I'm so thrilled to be here tonight to celebrate our Office for Women 2024 class who are graduating tonight, as well as sharing their thoughts and ideas for how to make Louisville a safer, stronger, healthier city for all of us, but for women and gender diverse individuals in particular. And I'm so excited to see all of them gathered here. I am so excited to introduce our Deputy Mayor, David James, who's been an ally, and I want to share just a little anecdote today. When we were doing our closing circle at our last class day, one of the individuals talked about how being able to meet senior leadership, deputy mayors, in person made them human, made them understand that these are people, that they are accessible, and that was a critical part of this program. So I'm thinking back to the day that you came, Deputy Mayor, and spoke to this group. He came that day and shared in a very open, vulnerable way about the importance of public service and how we connect. And I want to thank my colleagues in Metro government for being open and connecting with community in this way, because it's really meaningful and it makes so much more of an impact than you might even know. So, Deputy Mayor David James, the floor is yours. Thank you so much.
Well, good evening, everybody, and congratulations for making it this far. This is outstanding. I want to welcome you all here to Metro Hall. I also want to take time to recognize one of our great elected officials, Councilwoman Paula McCraney. Thank you for being here. And I also want to thank the person that really makes this whole thing happen, Gretchen. So Gretchen puts a ton of work and a ton of energy into making this whole thing happen. And I can tell you, quite frankly, it wouldn't be here, I wouldn't be here, you all wouldn't be here if it weren't for her. So thank you, Gretchen. Thank you for your energy. I want to say thank you all for being here. Thank you for all the time and commitment that you have put in to be able to be at this moment. I want to say that, you all are 22 exciting and dynamic women here in our city, and you've come through this process of learning about Metro government and being able to support Metro government and being able to know all the ins and outs of Metro government that you learned about, and you can better help your friends and your colleagues connect to government and help government connect to them. Because one of our biggest problems we have in government is connecting with people, right? And so you all are like a conduit. You're an ambassador to help us talk to everybody and for you all to bring messages back to us. So you're not going to get off the hook. You just don't get to go, I graduated, it's over, I'm going to go do some other stuff. We depend on you to help bring us information. We depend on you to help tell us when we mess up, right? So now that you've been indoctrinated, you can pick up the phone and say, hey, David James, you really messed that up yesterday. And I'll be like, okay, I got it, I understand. And I'll be thankful for that, right? Everybody good with that? Yeah, you're like, no, I'm not doing that. But the work that you all have done is incredible. I'm so very, very proud of you. And I know that it's hard to do all those meetings and take those tours and listen to us talk and yada, yada, yada all the time. But you did it, and I am very appreciative of you for doing it. And I know your friends are going to be appreciative because you're going to be able to come back to them and go, no, I know what that's all about. And they're going to go, how do you know? Said, well, I went to this ambassador class, and there's this great lady named Gretchen, and she took us and trained us and gave us all kinds of information. That's how I know that stuff. Thank you for everything that you've done. I expect great things from you. I expect to hear from you. I expect to see emails from you, all of that good stuff. So thank you for everything. Thank you.
So a little bit about the program before we hear from these folks themselves. The Office for Women Ambassador Program was developed as a collaborative effort with our colleagues at the Office of Immigrant Affairs, who have done a similar project with individuals from immigrant and refugee communities who are in Louisville for 10 years now. And what their success in being able to connect people who might be sometimes intimidated to contact government, not know what resources are out there, Their work in fostering awareness and empowerment was really such a great model. So we took that model and started it last year, and some of the individuals from last year who were in our first inaugural cohort knew that they were co-creating it in the process. Because we changed a few things. We understood that for women and gender diverse individuals, some things need to be shifted and accommodated. We provide childcare if people need that, if that's a barrier to be able to participate in our class, because we know that women and gender diverse individuals carry that unpaid labor burden more so, and we wanted to remove barriers. We focus a little bit more on collective leadership. The sessions focus on things like gender-based violence prevention and planning and some issues that might be of particular interest. But we also learned all different things, right? We went over to Metro Council and we sat in your seats, Councilwoman McCraney and Councilwoman Ruhe. And that was really powerful. And not to say watch out, but a few of the people shared, wow, not only did I feel empowered in that, I thought, I might get comfortable in this seat. So we have a whole pipeline of people who could sit in those seats. So this process has been a 6-month journey. And so in the midst of learning more about city services, issues impacting women and gender diverse individuals, the work of the Office for Women, our projects, the work of the Office of Equity, under which we sit, and as our colleague and co-partner in this, learning about the Office of Sustainability, learning about Louisville Metro, Louisville Police Department Victim Services, all different things. They also were building up their own skills of leadership and advocacy. These individuals were selected among a very large pool of applicants because of their commitment to their community, because of their leadership, because of their interest in making this city stronger for women and gender diverse individuals and for the community in general. And so they already had all of these gifts and talents. But some magic happens when you are given that little nudge and maybe go to that edge of discomfort to push a little bit more, to advocate a little more strongly for an issue, to present in front of people, and to do it together. There's something that it's a little less scary when you're doing things collectively, right? And when you have a safe space. So these individuals who are going to come up here, and some of them are going to be presenting projects and presentations and proposals. This is just a snapshot of the rich discussions that have happened, the collaborations that have formed, and the work that is just beginning. So I invite you to listen well to these short, brief presentations, and if you're hungry for more information, meet these individuals afterwards. We have one-pagers on some of their projects out there. We can provide that information to you. We'll provide it to the mayor and Metro Council and to everyone, so you can look at these ideas and say, gosh, that might be something that solves an issue I've heard from constituents. So I'm so thrilled to introduce them. This is a rapid fire, so they'll each be doing a short pitch for a project or a policy or a proposal or an organization that they are a part of or a business that they are creating that they want you to know more about. And this really does answer the question that the Office for Women focuses on with a laser focus every day, which is how can we make Louisville a place where gender equity is the norm, where women and gender diverse individuals and really everyone can thrive. These are some of the excellent solutions that come from them. So I will be listening closely to see what new partners can guide our work. Thank you for being the first person to begin, Seshela. So Seshela Durling, everyone.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. My name is Seshela Durling, and I am a disability advocate here in the great city of Louisville. And I'm really excited, first off, to be a participant in this amazing program that truly was life-changing. And I have an ask of this city. The disabled community has been left behind, and that is no surprise. We struggle with barriers to education, barriers in employment, housing, healthcare, you name it. In fact, there are 91,000 Louisville citizens that live with a disability. And we go unrepresented And when we go unrepresented, policies are created that have a direct impact on our lives and our well-being. And so my ask is that Louisville Metro consider investing in the disabled community by first and foremost educating everybody on what disability means, what disability is, how we can be more accessible and inclusive, how we can build a better Louisville where everyone is safe to walk down the sidewalks, where everyone is free to gain meaningful employment and have a sustainable roof over their heads. I ask that Louisville invest in its citizens that are the most vulnerable and truly, truly integrate the disabled community into all areas of this great city so that we can be united and work in conjunction with the wonderful Office for Women and other amazing Louisville Metro organizations to help create this program to be a reality. And that is all I have, so thank you so much for listening, and good luck to the next.
Amazing, Sashella. Now I have up Yvonne Jones and Nicole Kaforsky. Welcome.
We are happy to be here tonight to present our business to you all. So Diversity Works will provide businesses with consultation, training, and workshops aimed at elevating the workplace community through an intersectional lens. So our mission is to identify what is truly needed from leaders and employees alike to move towards a workplace community structure that drives team member motivation and performance, reduces employee turnover, and leads to profit for your business. Attendees can expect to walk away with a toolkit and actionable steps to ensure their learning continues beyond their session with Diversity Works. So Nicole, would you like to go more into why Diversity Works is compelling and needed?
Yvonne and I, between us, we've attended hundreds of professional development workshops and workshops specifically oriented around diversity, equity, inclusion, belonging, accessibility in the workplace. But we were leaving the majority of these feeling like something was missing, especially with an increasingly diverse workforce. And it will be continuing to get more diverse. That's what the data continues to show us. That's what's coming. That's what we need to prepare for. So we also noticed these workshops, they were very costly. And so they were really only accessible to large corporations or these large conferences, not so much to smaller businesses or mid-sized businesses. And then they were usually providing really just broad strokes of information, keeping conversations very surface level, and as a result, leaving out the lived experiences of our diverse and intersectional teams and workforce. So they're not always really addressing the real and existing barriers that are existing in the workplace. Things like our processes and procedures, our language, and our general culture and values. So we're avoiding a lot of real conversations that do need to be had, especially to prepare for the future, and also just face the reality of how diverse our workforce is. And we're not following those conversations with actionable steps in the workplace. So that's what we aim to do, is address those needs in our sessions. We want to drive real change in the workplace structures, increase that sense of belonging and trust among team members. And we want to make sure that you as a business also receive that increase in innovation, employee retention, have a better brand outlook, and also profit as well. So as Yvonne mentioned, this isn't just necessarily a DEI yearly checkbox training for you. We want you to be able to walk away with that toolbox with action-oriented plans, so right away you can start improving your workplace community, because that's where we're spending the majority of our time, and giving you considerations for your next steps in continuing your learning journey, not just as individual team members, whether you're a leader or an individual employee, but for your business overall.
But we are asking for your continued support from the Office for Women. Consider our team in future consultations, trainings, and workshops. Please, please, please recommend us to businesses, organizations that could use a refresher or restructuring for their workplace community, because we can handle that for you. We are Diversity Works.
Thank you so much. Next, Shanice Nelson.
Again, I'm Shanice Nelson. I represent District 15, and the issue that I would like to present on today is reducing maternal and infant mortality rates here in Kentucky. It is a crisis that we are not addressing aggressively enough, and so one of my proposed solutions is a breastfeeding cutout campaign. And a lot of you are thinking, what is a cutout going to do for maternal and infant mortality rates? It is a low-cost, high-impact strategy to normalize breastfeeding. When people see more of breastfeeding, people do more of breastfeeding. When people support breastfeeding, it directly increases breastfeeding rates and decreases maternal and infant mortality rates. I would like to see these cutouts strategically placed around our city, in government, in small businesses, in restaurants and academic institutions, because those are high traffic areas. Those are areas that women, girls, and parents travel to all the time. These cutouts would also consist of a potential hashtag, Louisville Breastfeeds, that amplifies the conversation in virtual spaces. So the idea is that these cutouts serve as conversation starters because they're not small, they're life-size like us. So you can't miss them when you're walking into these high-traffic environments. In doing so, again, that conversation travels. There will also be a QR code that is attached to each cutout. That QR code will send individuals directly to evidence-based resources, resources to contact individuals in legislation, so that they know how to begin following a bill. I myself am very new to civic engagement and government work, large thanks to Gretchen here and the Office for Women. And one of the things that I had the pleasure of learning is how a bill moves. How do we go from this idea to fruition of actual legislation being enacted that serves the families in our state? Something else that people will have access to with that QR code is data reports. So those are going to link to reports from our state's Maternal Mortality Review Committee that will also link to information from the CDC. They do produce a biannual breastfeeding report card. They also produce reports as well on a national basis, but then they break those down by states, race, demographic, that show where those maternal and infant mortality rates are coming from and what the root cause of those may be. So my ask from Louisville Metro is, I ask you all to support this campaign. It does require funding. I am asking a minimum of $5,000 to be able to support this initiative. I do think it will have a grand impact on our city, and I thank you for your time today.
Thank you. Next, we have Celestine Bowman and Charity Helton Pugh.
Hi, my name is Charity Helton Pugh, and I live in Metro Council District 17.
And I'm Celestine Bowman of Metro District Council 3.
Our proposal addresses gender-based violence. 1 in 3 women in Kentucky experiences domestic violence. By planting seeds of awareness around gender-based violence and teaching healthy relationships through community education in schools, we can change the trajectory of the epidemic of gender-based violence. In our proposal, the Center for Women and Families will increase staff dedicated to expanding evidence-based prevention and awareness programming in 7 JCPS middle and high schools in the next academic year. We propose allocating $200,000 to the Center's prevention and education programs to expand their efforts in preventing gender-based violence.
We also ask that the mayor's public safety plan include specific considerations for gender-based violence. Just as 80-plus stakeholders contributed to the Growing Louisville Together action plan, we ask that stakeholders like the Office for Women, the Center for Women and Families, the Office for Safe and Healthy Neighborhoods, and Victim Services be given the opportunity to convene and contribute to the mayor's public safety plan. Louisville Metro government can support our vision by increasing funding for the center's prevention programs, considering gender-based violence in city crime strategy, and recognizing the value of empowering and equipping our youth with the knowledge and skills that it takes to manifest a society and culture free from violence.
Thank you for your time.
Next up, Angela Madsen and Dr. Ananicia Williams.
Kentucky has one of the highest incarceration rates in the country. While fewer women are incarcerated than men, the number of women incarcerated has grown at an alarming pace in Kentucky in recent decades. According to the Vera Institute of Justice, most women in jail are mothers, with 79% having young children and approximately 5% are pregnant when they are incarcerated. Jail can be destabilizing and dehumanizing. Many leave struggling to recover mentally, physically, and economically. Vera Institute of Justice also shares one of the most significant underlying issues that women in jail grapple with is mental illness. That can include depression, bipolar disorder, and schizophrenia. It affects an estimated 32% of women in jails, a rate more than double that of jailed men and more than 6 times that of women in the general public. According to the Bureau of Justice Statistics, jailed women also report very high rates of victimization, including child sexual abuse, sexual assault, and intimate partner violence. And almost a third had experienced post-traumatic stress disorder. Along with these statistics, 86% reporting having sexual violence in their lifetime, 77% reported partner violence, and 60% reported caregiver violence. We must consider that when mothers are incarcerated, children are more likely to experience instability. This is a public health crisis. We can acknowledge that Jefferson County should be exploring practices to divert people from the justice system. At the same time, we all have a collective responsibility to provide an opportunity for reconciliation and healing. To the individuals and their family who have been involved or impacted, as Mayor Greenberg strives to lead us in growing Louisville together, we must center one of the most marginalized groups of our community for the collective good. As the great Audre Lorde said, there is no such thing as a single-issue struggle because we do not live single-issue lives. Our proposal today is to uplift collective power by centering a group of people who struggle for justice and liberation in complex ways. I will now hand it over to my partner who will go in depth on our proposal.
So, like Dr. Williams says, the population that we are focusing on is incarcerated women, right? And so we decided to come together and make a coalition called Voices of Hope. The coalition is comprised of 3 organizations. One is Sister Song, which is a reproductive justice organization, and we will use that framework for the individuals in our program. Next is the Prophecy Foundation. In this organization, we focus on reentry. And so we are making sure that we provide services for those individuals so that they are striving in our community and not going back. Lastly, is Play Cousins Collective. And with Play Cousins Collective, they are going to provide caregiver support. They're also going to provide storytelling and advocacy work so that we can make sure that these individuals learn how to speak for themselves, how to advocate for themselves, and how to tell their story. So all 3 of these organizations are experts in everything that they do. They're also experts in mental health, and so each and every one of them bring that to this coalition. And so, like Dr. Williams says, that our issue is that we really want to decrease the stigma and societal pressures that are faced by women and gender diverse individuals who have been incarcerated. Some of the solutions that we have to do that is that we want to provide a safe and supportive space for these individuals. We want to offer practical support. We want to make sure that they have childcare, they have meals and transportation, and that any other barriers are going to be decreased for them so that they do not have to worry about that. We also want to make sure that we collect and analyze data so that we can bring that to the Metro, bring that to Office of Women, so that we can make sure that everybody in our community understands that this population is a population that no one really talks about. And so with this data, it will show that they need help as well. Our ask really is funding, of course. And so we want to make sure that we have funding enough for our facilities, venues, our facilitators, our speakers, childcare, et cetera. And we're asking for a minimum of $250,000 for this one-year pilot program that we are offering to the community. We also want support, and we're asking for help with policy change, because there are policies out here that are not for this population, and we need that to change. We also want to make sure that we are networking and collaborating with Metro government. We are collaborating with LMPD. We are collaborating with anybody that has to deal with the individuals that have been incarcerated. And we want to make sure that we have a team of people that can give us the data and help us share that data out. And finally, we want to make sure that we are collaborating with anybody that wants to advocate with us. And so we are going to be making sure that we build a community base so that we can advocate for the people's voices to be heard. Of course, this is why we call it Voices of Hope. I want to leave you all with this. There are two powers in the world. One is the sword, and the other is the pen. There is a third power, stronger than both, which is of a woman. Thank you.
Thank you. Now we have Anjanae Sammy.
My proposal before you guys today is that we build another women and children's shelter. The issue is that there are no immediate shelters to provide access and support to only women and children in the city of Louisville, regardless of victimization or need. And my connection is that I work with victim services with the Louisville Metro Police Department, and that we often see women and women with children choose to stay in high-risk situations due to the lack of shelter and resources for themselves and their children. Statistics support that women and children have a higher risk of becoming re-victimized when seeking residency in shelters that accept men and women, and unfortunately I have been assigned to some of them cases. Domestic violence and drug rehabilitation is the only immediate shelter options out there when there is a slew of other victimizations that would need emergency sheltering, and some examples are like arson, burglary, home invasion, homicides, robbery and carjackings, because usually they take everything, including wallets, and so they have access to addresses, house keys, suicide and death investigations, because a lot of people would not want to stay after experiencing that, and wanton endangerment, and that can even result in a stray bullet coming through your home, you know, without you even being involved in the situation. And unfortunately, a lot of the victims choose to stay because there are no options for them to go somewhere else safer. Like, some people just don't have a close family bond or familial or friend bond to where they can stay there for a certain amount of time, so they choose to stay home. And we really would like to see a change for that. Most shelters now offer but beds and don't allow children to stay. And some women have chose to do that, some do not. Who wants to be separated from their family after they've already experienced something as life-changing as some type of victimization? Current shelters are usually at capacity. Sometimes we have to check daily or even sometimes hourly to see if there's an open space for them to stay and their children. Have limited resources compared to the city needs, and that's just one of the things that's a societal thing, along with having staffing difficulties and have restricted funding access. So my proposed solution is repurposing existing accessible buildings into emergency shelters for women and women with children. And what I'm asking for is for support and resources to make that reality, somewhere where they still have access to the bus line and groceries, stuff like that. And I'm asking for funding and support and help from Louisville Metro and Office of Women. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up, Sergeant Sarah Norton.
My name is Sergeant Sarah Norton. I work for the Louisville Fire Department. I've been a full-time fire inspector for the Fire Prevention Bureau for 3 years now, just about. And I'm a life safety educator, CPR instructor. I have a master's in safety, security, and emergency management. And now I can say I'm proud to be a part of the most incredible group of women that I have met, the Office for Women Ambassadors. I want to thank Gretchen for choosing me for this opportunity and for my leadership for allowing me to come to this and supporting me in that. I have a passion for preventing unnecessary loss. As a firefighter for 10 years, I saw a lot of loss, and yes, you cannot prevent everything, but there is a lot that can be easily prevented. Now, through this program with the Office for Women, I've found out about so many amazing things that they are doing to prevent that loss, and programs and resources that all of these women are passionate advocates for, and that the members of Metro and the leaders have come to talk to us about. But then I also started to think, there were quite a few of these that I was not aware of, and I work for Metro government. So how is the average citizen supposed to know about these? And I just surveyed my ambassadors today. There's about 23 of us that I surveyed. 19 out of 23 ambassadors did not know that we offered free smoke alarms. And 21 out of 23 of those did not know that we offer free smoke alarm aids for the deaf and hard of hearing. I was just looking through Metro websites to see as an average person what I could find. There's a Find Services link. You can find things on that. The Office for Aging and Disabled Citizens had an ultimate resource guide. But nowhere on there did we have our smoke alarm aid for the deaf and hard of hearing. I found nowhere on the Office for Safe and Healthy Neighborhoods about mention of home fire safety. And I don't want to point out the negative, because I know there's amazing things at work going on that I may just not be aware of. But I saw a gap, and I just want to bring awareness to that. I think there's a lack of collaboration within Metro departments. And there's barriers to that, but we can't just accept that. There needs to be solutions. We have to work better together, to collaborate, to share resources. The immediate solution for me bringing awareness to those resources today is my handout that I created is out on the table. It tells you all about the resources we offer as a fire department that are free. But the long-term solution, I would love to make a collective of people like these women in these organizations who are boots on the ground, working with these programs daily, looking for resources, looking for ways to collaborate. I would love to create that and have it work together, but I can't. My full-time job is a fire inspector, and that is a big part of community risk reduction. We do community risk reduction programs as well with my colleague, Sergeant Green here. But based on our 2024 accreditation report, I'm responsible for 4,606 occupancies or businesses to inspect. If we went to each of those once a year, I would be doing 22 inspections a day with no vacation, no community programs. Re-inspections, complaints, community education programs, that doesn't count any of that. So my ask for Metro, we need more fire inspectors. We need full-time public life safety educators. We need that. I know it's not going to happen overnight, but it's a necessity. Through the Office for Women Ambassadors, they gave us a book to read to support our career development. It was called Writing Your Change Story by Ashley Lamp Sinclair, which said, if you are not the one to create the change you want to see, then who is? I may just be a sergeant, just a fire inspector, but these group of women empowered me to say what I need to say and advocate for what I need to advocate for. It's the responsibility of organizations and systems to lead widespread change, especially when it comes to inequities, and oppression, and harm. So today, I hope that I've brought awareness to that. I do want to say I've seen the good things that are going on in the collaboration that's already happening, but we've got more work to do. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up, we have Keisha Bryant.
Hello, my name is Keisha Bryant, and I reside in District 23. I am the Executive Director of Mama to Mama, and our mission is to create and establish support for mothers and families as they make the transition into parenthood. We want to provide them with cost-free or heavily reduced doula services during and after pregnancy. Doing this will improve the maternal and birthing outcomes in the communities that we serve. We strive to promote healthy parenting practices in an effort to create a healthier and more sustainable community. We want to provide safe spaces of support for families and continue to build our community so that they are equipped with knowledge and advocacy. Currently, the maternal health grade in Kentucky is an F. The maternal health disparities that myself and my organization see affect women of color at much higher rates. At Mama to Mama, our maternal health programming aims to support women and families of color with well-rounded perinatal community support. This support includes our community doula program, our childbirth education and parenting classes, and our community baby showers. We've recently opened a maternity resource pantry where families are able to come and have access to vital necessities such as diapers, wipes, and formula. Our program is dependent on grant funding and donations from the community. And so my purpose today is to bring awareness to the maternal health crisis that is continuing to run rampant in the community that I serve with women who look just like me. Women and babies are continuing to lose their lives every single day during and after childbirth, and more than 80% of those deaths are preventable. We need more policies in place to protect growing families. My ask today is for you to remember the women and children of our community and to remember how important their lives are, and a preventable death is absolutely unnecessary and absurd. The solutions to these problems are making resources in maternal health education more accessible, creating safe spaces filled with like-minded people, providing culturally competent care. We are creating more awareness related to Black maternal health and meeting the community where they are. Celebrating new life that will be brought into the community is a vital initiative that we have because every new life is a new chance to start over and make things right. Thank you.
Next, Brianna Carter.
Okay, hi everyone, I'm Brianna Carter. So Metro has over 7,000 employees from diverse backgrounds. I myself am a proud Louisville Metro government employee who also has a master's degree in gender studies and experience in teaching gender, culture, and race studies courses. I have taken the mandatory diversity training from my department in Metro, and it was vague, took about 30 minutes to complete, and I will be honest, the AI graphics in it were quite unsettling. I am proposing that all Metro departments or a representative from each department will take part in a comprehensive, engaging, collaborative, and uniform gender equity training program that I, alongside the Office for Women, would facilitate. I propose that these trainings would be offered in person and could have a virtual component. By implementing a comprehensive training program on gender equity, Louisville Metro government can foster a workplace culture that values diversity, promotes fairness, empowers employees to contribute to a more inclusive city administration. If all departments had the same comprehensive training program, we could ensure that all 7,000 employees have a safe and happy work environment where gender equity has become the norm. Training Metro Louisville government employees about gender equity involves several key steps and considerations to ensure effectiveness and impact. The details of all of these points are going to be on my handout that will be available by the door, but these are my points. 1, it promotes equity and fairness. 2, it creates an inclusive work environment. 3, enhances organizational performance. 4, it reduces legal and reputation risks. 5, supports community expectations. And 6, it empowers the employees. Overall, Assisting OFW in providing gender equity training to Louisville Metro government departments is a proactive step towards building a workplace culture that values diversity, respects individual differences, and fosters equal opportunities for all employees. It aligns with the broader societal goals of inclusivity and equity, making it not only important, but essential for organizational success and social progress. If we start with the city employees, and it will all have an equitable mindset that will trickle down into our great city of Louisville. I believe we are put on this earth to make the world a better place and follow our passions, and a more equal world for everyone, regardless of what they look like or where they come from, is a passion of mine. I will leave you here today with our state's motto, because I believe that it is exactly why we're here. It is united we stand, divided we fall. Thank you.
Next up, Melissa Nelson.
My name is Melissa Nelson, and I reside in District 1. So by now, we all know about the JCPS transportation issues that our city faces. The prismatic third-party audit highlighted that these issues are due to deficit of drivers, starting multiple large projects at once, who was allowed to have a say within JCPS, and the board being unaware of key information, and the use of a sole contractor for the routing of buses. But what the audit failed to mention was the lack of community voice in the entire process. Paulo Freire emphasizes the need to have those directly impacted involved in understanding their needs. This can look like creating or utilizing existing advisory boards to get targeted feedback, hosting listening sessions, actually using the evaluations that are done and then sharing that feedback. And of course, self-reflection by all parties. The solution prioritizes the voices and experiences of those directly impacted. It provides JCPS and the school board an opportunity to begin healing their relationship with the city. It creates solutions with and for the community that they serve. It takes a community to solve a community-level issue. This is bigger than one person or one organization can solve, which is why we should work together. This strategy will require JCPS to be open-minded, transparent, and work with students, families, and community partners. Of course, there will be some need for funding because that is required for all things, but also some things for like the advisory board, whether we want to offer them some stipends, someone to coordinate like the listening sessions and things of that nature. And of course, advertisement. Thank you. That's really all I have.
Next up, Chelsea Watson.
I'm Chelsea Watson, a project manager for Louisville Metro Government representing District 17, and I am a child-free woman. Today, I want to shed light on a pressing concern: the discrimination faced by workers without children. They endure denied time off, excessive overtime, and overwhelming workloads, as documented by SHRM in 2022. This issue demands our attention. Some of you may ask, well, why does this matter? Why should we pay attention to this topic, and why is it important? This population needs our attention as it's estimated to represent 1/5 of society, according to the article in Scientific Reports in 2022. It's important because it's a matter of ethics, upholding equality, fostering diversity and inclusion, and challenging outdated social norms for women, and cultivating a positive workplace, all aspects we covered during our ambassadorship. By addressing this, we strengthen our organization and promote fairness for all. I have one simple request. I urge your consideration in incorporating a training module on fairness practices for workers without children into the Louisville Metro Government SEED training program, a requirement for supervisory staff. By doing so, we demonstrate our commitment to creating a supportive and inclusive environment that values every employee's unique circumstances regardless of their family status. Let's take a step towards a more equitable future together. Thank you, and have a good day. Thanks.
Next, Dr. Maria Lederman.
Good evening. Thank you all for being here. My name is Dr. Maria Lederman, and I am a licensed psychologist, and I was appointed to work in the administrative team for the Louisville Metro Department of Corrections in April 2022. Something that I always say is that when you have a seat at the table, make sure everybody else gets an opportunity to eat. As a woman working in a primarily male-dominated field, I have a strong passion for making sure that women have accessibility and representation in male-dominated fields of law enforcement. The issue that I want to talk about today is improving the accessibility and attention that we have for physical fitness needs for women in law enforcement. Statistically, we know that the amount of women that are in these fields are significantly lower than males, and we also know that the research shows us that women oftentimes make stronger law enforcement professionals. Women carry unique skills related to social intelligence, problem solving, relationships. However, there are barriers that exist as to why women are not entering these fields. One of these barriers is related to physical fitness. We have both limitations as well as what is arguably a bigger concern for women is the assumption that they are not physically fit. So the goal is to create spaces where women have access to address physical fitness needs that they have, and also the support and a sense of inclusivity and environments that promote physical well-being for women. So not only is this an issue that addresses the emotional well-being of women, it also addresses a huge public crisis related to the ability to hire and retain women in this field and ultimately promotes public safety. So the issue that I want to talk about today, with the solution being we create spaces where women have support to have access to spaces where they feel comfortable. They have women role models. There are instructors that are women that can guide them. We have health campaigns that are not generalized to the public, but specifically addressing the physical and health needs that women have, and for departments to make a commitment to focusing on promoting the physical accessibility of the needs that women have in their departments. So moving forward, I want us to, as a community, understand that physical fitness is a huge barrier to people coming into law enforcement, and there are solutions that we can focus on both as a community. So one of the big asks that we have both for the Office of Women as well as Metro government is having community engagement, social events where women are invited to participate collectively, whether it be in a running club, sports leagues that we do together, and then also including instructors in the field that provide that support and mentorship for women so that they have the idea that they can do this. We are not creating limitations, but instead promoting and empowering women to feel physically healthy and creating spaces where we increase the amount of women in our law enforcement departments. So I appreciate you all, and I hope this is a good next step to improve the physical health and well-being of women in our city.
And last but certainly not least, Trayshell Brown, who I will say hopefully is going to bring in all ambassadors and the community at some point in a healing, restorative event. So this is a good way to close the circle of presentations. So Trayshell.
Thank you. Gretchen is always intentional. Hello, beautiful bodies. My name is Trayshell Brown. I represent the Shawnee District. I am a co-director and founder of Nurture the West, a wellness initiative that provides peace and tranquility. Our objective is to provide access to wellness tools through programming. So when I get anxious, you may have seen me over there, I was fidgeting a little bit, my body tingles all over, and I want to scream. but I know screaming won't do anything, so I don't. I learned that from trial and error and through the access of wellness entities in therapy sessions outside the West End districts. The West End hosts multi-generational systematic injustices which impact residents' day-to-day living, which can cause permanent and serious mental instabilities. And because of this time, West End residents make up 46% of the Louisville population, but are welcomed with limited food access and wellness opportunities. And that is where I come in. Nurture the West provides wellness programming by collaborating with orgs and businesses, and we pipeline resources through our organization. So at this time, we provide sound healing and yoga. It's beautiful. Please join us in the future. And the West End needs wellness facilities to combat systematic racism. If you feel like this mission aligns with you, please contact me directly. What I ask is for funding. I ask for participation. I ask for change. I'm here to implement change, but we can only make change through donations. And so I asked for a minimum of $60,000 to salary the co-director and I, and to be able to pay for co-facilitators, because we are focused on Black and BIPOC facilitators, but it's more important that we pay everyone their worth. We do not want to ask people to do anything for free. But we are here to provide wellness and bring peace and tranquility in whatever that looks like. Thank you.
Let's give a hand to all of those brave individuals who presented not just to you all gathered here, but are streamed live to Facebook to a larger audience, knowing this will be recorded and shared with the mayor, Metro Council, other individuals. I hope you just got a sampling of the rich minds and collective power and what happens when you gather people together to problem solve. So I look forward to partnering with all of you on those initiatives and hope that many of you in the audience are thinking about how you can step up and contribute. So now it is the celebratory time. Now is your time. Look around at each other for a minute before you walk up here. So now I want to invite Councilwoman Paula McCraney, who is co-chair of the Women's Caucus of Louisville Metro Council, who has been a champion for the Office for Women, for Women's Equality Day, for breaking these barriers on stigma of topics that women don't get to learn about our bodies and what we experience. So I want to invite you to come up here and help celebrate these individuals as they graduate as ambassadors, and then we celebrate. So it is my honor to present these, signed by the mayor and by the Office for Women. So I'm going to invite first Angela Madsen. You want to take a picture? Yeah. Next, Anjanae Sammy. Brianna Carter. Celestine Bowman. Charity Yelton Pugh. Seshella Durling. Chelsea Watson, we mixed you up in the timing of this. There you go. Dahabo Caro. Dr. Ananicia Williams. Anitza Torres. Erica Vivas Ramos. And Jasna Pickett is not able to be with us here tonight due to a car issue, but she is here in spirit. And Jasna, we are sending our love to you, and we will continue to celebrate you. Kasia Bryant. Dr. Maria Lederman. Melissa Nelson. Nicole Kaforsky. Sergeant Sarah Norton. Shanice Nelson. Tiffany Bailey. Trayshell Brown. Last but not least, Yvonne Jones. And now, right before Councilwoman Paula McCraney gives us some closing remarks, I want to just share what is perhaps my favorite quote, but I want to ask the ambassadors, the 2023 ambassadors who are still our ambassadors, to come join your siblings up on stage. James Baldwin said, "The longer I live, the more deeply I learn that love, whether we call it friendship or family or romance, is the work of mirroring and magnifying each other's light. Gentle work, steadfast work, life-saving work in those moments where life and shame and sorrow occlude our own light from our view. But there is still a clear-eyed, loving person to beam it back. In our best moments, we are that person for one another. Thank you for being that person for each other. Continue to shine your light upon each other. And I will turn it over to Councilwoman McCraney to close us out. And then we will all gather in the rotunda after a quick photo for some celebratory beverages and snacks.
Well, congratulations. Today is your day. It is not any day. It is your day. This is not an ordinary day. It is your day. This is not any old day. This is your day. And what does that mean? That means that you are a graduate of the Office for Women and the Ambassador Program. What does that mean? That means that you now represent Louisville, Kentucky, and all that is finest. We expect from you all that is finest. We are looking to you to give us what we've poured into you, excellence. We are hoping that you have gained through this experience all that is great about our good city. We expect that you will contribute to the city. So how you talk, how you walk, what you say, how you move in and out of circles, how you respond to people, and how you engage in your local community will attest to what type of ambassador you are. We are expecting great things. We heard so many wonderful ideas from you today. Now, the real test, and hear me well, as a Metro Councilwoman, we hear a lot of ideas. We hear a lot of great ideas, and we always hear people ask for funding. The real test of a true leader, a great problem solver, and someone who is absolutely engaged and committed to the process is when you do not get the funding you ask for. How committed are you? How serious are you about your program? With or without funding, the ambassador that you will show us will be the one who will do it despite the funding. There will be opportunities, and I wish upon you great opportunities, lasting relationships, many open doors, and a lot of fun. This is our city, and we're expecting you to enjoy every bit of it. I love it, and I wish upon you all the love that Louisville has for you. Do great things. We will be watching. At least I will. And if I could ever do anything for you, please don't hesitate to reach out to the Louisville Metro Council. Thank you.